Hey guys, FunnyGuyTimmy here again for another really quick video. This one, I actually wanted to go down my top 10 favorite microphones that I have reviewed and or own. So I have a little list here, and I wanted to go down them and actually talk about, why I like them, and, how I use them and my experience with them. Now, some of these are ones that I've owned and some of these are ones that I've just used. So my number 10 on my list, starting from the bottom, working our way up, is going to be the Samson CO1 Pro. I feel like even though it's a USB mic and it has that USB mic sound and relatively high noise floor, it's still incredibly versatile. There's some USB mics that I've used that don't have headphone jacks, and those are completely useless to me. I mean, you can't do a lot of really good voiceover and a lot of really good voiceover editing and gaming and streaming and stuff like that with those. So, those ones are essentially useless. But when it comes to the Samson CO1 Pro, I think it actually does it really well. Yes, it is a cheaper microphone and it has a cheaper microphone sound, but if you're starting out doing voiceover, that's probably one of your better options. My number 9 is going to be the AudioTechnica AT2020 USB, just above the Samson CO1 Pro. And the reason is because though it still does have the USB sound, I think it actually is a higher quality microphone. I mean, it's also twice the price, so I would hope so. It also has the headphone jack as well as dials for, headphone volume and how much of the microphone versus the computer you're actually listening to. So it has features as well as having the headphone jack. It's also modeled after the AudioTechnica AT2020, which is industry standard for the most part for a lot of beginning voiceover artists and singers and stuff like that. So you can do all kinds of stuff with it. It's rugged, it's versatile, it's got features and settings, and it's just an all-around great starting microphone. Next on the list is the MXL 991. I've used this microphone a lot. It actually surprised me when I first got it and first tried it out. It blew my mind. I wasn't expecting it to be as good for voiceover or for talking head as much as I thought it was going to be. I've compared it against two other microphones. The AudioTechnica AT75R and the Sennheiser MKH416. It doesn't have as much smoothness to its sound and sounds a little too sharp as compared to the MKH416, but overall I think it was a very good microphone for its price and just surprisingly good. Number 7 on the list is going to be the Shure SM57. It's a dynamic microphone, so most dynamic microphones are really flat and don't have a lot of clarity to them. And the Shure SM57 was actually intended for miking up instruments rather than voice, but I think it actually works really, really well for voice. Yes, it does need a lot of gain to actually get a nice clean signal, and still has a relatively high noise floor. I guess if you have a more expensive, studio or a more expensive mixer, that can give it even more gain, you're probably going to get less noise. And that's kind of, where the microphone kind of falls flat a little bit. But, it's a $100 microphone. It's dynamic. It has a very small, narrow, very small area. Very small pickup pattern, so it's not going to pick up a lot of noise in the room. If you were, trying to start voiceover and you don't have a treated space like this, you could definitely use the SM57 as your starting mic. Next one on the list is the MXL V67. I pit this against the AudioTechnica AT2020 and was surprised when it sounded very similar. The MXL V67, I think, is I think it's like a $60 to $70 microphone, and the AudioTechnica AT2020 is like a $100 microphone. And the fact that there was that much of a price difference, and I feel like I could easily match some recording and match some audio between the two mics. Like, let's say you have the AudioTechnica AT2020 and it dies on you and you can't get your hands on another one and you got this microphone instead, you could easily, keep going without having that much of a sound difference in your voice. Incredibly rugged, reliable. It's metal. It's durable. Relatively inexpensive. I think it's actually one of the more inexpensive microphones on this list of top 10s, which is why it ranks so high. And so, yeah, there's not a lot of bad stuff to say about this microphone. It's really good. Now, the next one on my list is the AudioTechnica AT2020 You guys knew this one was going to be on the list. It is one of my absolute favorite microphones. It is a bit pricey for the sound. I did compare it to a lot of microphones, and it did fare really well. It compared to the Blue Spark, and the Blue Spark compares, very easily to the Sennheiser MKH416. So in some small way, it's like 3 degrees off from being, sounding similar to the MKH416. I don't want to say that it sounds as good. It definitely does not. It's a very small shotgun mic, and it doesn't reject as much noise on the backs and on the sides because it's only like that long. So it's not going to reject as much noise in the room. But due to the fact that it's a small body, you can easily carry it with you. It is a shotgun mic, so it's not going to pick up as much noise in the area as a large diaphragm. But again, it's kind of pricey. It's in between, I think it's about like $150, $170. So if this was a cheaper microphone, this would be way higher on the list. But yeah, it still is one of my favorite microphones and definitely one of my favorite traveling mics. Number 4 is going to be a microphone that was very close to my heart and then died. And, well, we just move on sometimes. Was the Blue Spark, one of my absolute favorite sounding microphones. The Blue Spark was very smooth, very flattering to my voice. It wasn't too sharp, wasn't too sibilant. And like I said earlier, compared very easily to the Neumann U87 and the MKH416, which, due to the fact that it's a $200 microphone and compares to $1,000 to, $3,000, $4,000 microphones, is that right there is enough to really love this microphone. However, I feel like from reading a lot of other people's comments and talking to a lot of other people, and the fact that mine just its capsule broke. In fact, I own 2. One of them, the capsule died and Sweetwater replaced it. And then later the capsule seemed to have had a problem again. I think it might have been that microphone itself, and it just inevitably, the capsule just inevitably just gives out. So that's why it's not higher on my list. But still, if you can get it and keep it in working condition, I think it's a great forever mic. Now, number 3 on my list is a microphone that I don't technically own. It is a microphone that I've used twice. I've enjoyed using it every single time. I love listening to it. I love the results every time it's been used, and that is the TLM 103. It's the next microphone on my list when I actually move forwards with my, my gear, finding another forever mic. Right now, I'm still using a shotgun mic because there's still noise outside, there's still noise in the area, and this just helps me get rid of that and have to do less editing. But when I finally do get a studio that's quieter, there's not as much noise, I got more distance between me and the outside, I'm probably going to be moving towards the TLM 103. It sounds great, it's smooth, relatively no noise. You can crank it up, forever almost and not hear really any hiss. And it's a trusted brand. Yes, it is pricey, it's $600, but comparatively to, a lot of the other expensive microphones, in the pro level, this is probably the cheapest expert pro level microphone you'll probably be able to find. Number 2 is going to be the AudioTechnica 2020. I compare this microphone to everything. I've owned this microphone forever. I've dropped this mic. I've screamed into this mic. I've sung into this mic. I've done all kinds of stuff with this mic. And no matter what I've tried to use this microphone on, no matter what voice I've tried to use on it, no matter what space I've been working in using the microphone, it's always came out really, really good. It does have some noise that if you were to try to be really quiet, just very quiet, very quiet, subtle voiceover, and to crank up the gain, you are going to hear some hiss. But it is one of the longest lasting microphones that I've ever owned. and it is still come out on top no matter what I've put it through, and it has just been, you know, a gem of my inventory. And, you know, I'm probably going to still own one from years from now. I'm still going to own one because I know that if everything else breaks on me, if all the other microphones get stolen or break, I can guaranteeably keep my career going using an AudioTechnica 2020, and only for $100. And finally, the number one microphone that I have ever used, that I have ever owned, the microphone that I think sounds the best for me, is going to be the MKH 416. I got this microphone with the idea of using it for both on-set shotgun mic booming for film, as well as doing Foley work, as well as doing voiceover, etc., and so forth. This microphone is incredibly flattering on my voice. It is incredibly pricey. It's $1,000. But this, if I could only have one microphone, and I sold every other mic, and you know, I knew that only one mic was going to work for me. You know, it's like you can only have one mic, and this mic will last you all the way to the end of your career. I would choose this one because I can use it for so much. And again, because it is a shotgun mic, it is canceling out a lot of noise that's happening outside, that's happening in other rooms, that's happening upstairs. You know, any echo that's bouncing around out there, it's not going to pick that up. It's very narrow. It hones in on me. It sounds great. It's smooth, very low noise. There's nothing bad to say about this microphone other than if you're doing animation and you get off axis, it is going to sound different. That's really the only thing. But that's more a matter of my technique and me learning how to, you know, act in front of this mic more than a shame on this mic. So anyway, this was me just doing a top 10 of all my favorite microphones that I've ever reviewed and ever used, trying to give you guys an idea where I rank some of my microphones and what I would use them for and stuff like that, and just kind of comparing them all to each other. Not all microphones are the same, and not everyone's voice is the same, and not everyone's voice is going to sound, you know, as good on other microphones. So not all these microphones will sound the best for you. Maybe some of them do, some of them don't. That's not the point of this. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. This was a lot of fun. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Leave any questions you have down below. And until next time, peace.